Hi. Chapter 11 talks about working backwards. And in these types of problems, you're going to be dealing with a string of events. And what you're going to have to do is write down your string of events in order, and then you're going to work from your bottom back to the beginning. Okay, so I'm going to show you how this works through example. I'm going to give you two examples. This video will be the first example, and then the second video will be the second one. I do recommend watching both videos because the second problem that we do is a lot more complicated, and so I want you to be able to do those more complicated problems. But we're going to start out with one that's not quite as complicated. Okay, so Dad went to an ATM on Wednesday of spring break and withdrew some money. Alright, so I'm going to start underlining some stuff. He withdrew some money. On Thursday morning, my brother borrowed half. So I'm going to say that. Brother borrowed half of Dad's money to open a checking account because he was always short on money. On Friday, I needed some money for a date, so I borrowed half of what remained. My sister came along the next and borrowed half, so she also borrowed half of what the remaining money. Dad then went to fill up his car with gas, and he used half. And then we found out that there is $15 left. So $15 left. Okay, so when we work backwards, we start out by writing down everything we know in order as it happened. So first, I know that Dad has some money. So Dad has money. We don't know how much, we just know he has some money. So I'm going to say, well, that's going to be X. Okay, then my brother came along and he borrowed half of it. So what I like to do is I like to write like this. I subtracted half of my money, and then I'm going to draw a box. Okay, and what I'm going to say is, hey, the brother borrowed half of it, and half of it remained. Okay. Then I came along and I borrowed half of it, so step 3, I borrowed half of it. So I'm going to write the same thing. I took half out. And so now out of the remaining money that I had, half of it went out, half of it remained. Okay. And then my sister came along, and she also decided to borrow half. Draw my box again. And this is how much remained. And then Dad had to fill up the car with gas, and so he took out half of it. So used half of it. So once again, he took out half. So let's draw that box again. He took out half. Half of it remains. Okay, and at the end of the day, Dad had $15 left. Okay, so when we work backwards, we basically start the problem all over again, but we start from the bottom and we work our way back up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look at number 6. So we start with $15. So we have $15. Wrote that down. Now what does that $15 represent? That $15 represents the amount that remained. Okay? So in order to figure out before he used half of it, how much did he have? Well, my next step, before Dad used half, he had oops, let's erase that. 15 times 2, which is $30. Okay, so what that means is if he takes that times 2, that entire thing is $30. Okay, so now we're going to go to that step 4 that we had. I think that was before my sister borrowed half, so that $30 represented half of it, the amount that remained. So before the sister used half, there was 30 times 2, which was $60. Okay, so that step's done. Okay, so now I borrowed some money. Okay, so that $60 now represented what remained here. So before I used half, there was 60 times 2, which is $120. So that entire thing represented $120. So I'm done with that step 3. Okay. Now, before my brother used half, so that 120 represented this in here. In step 2, there was 120 times 2, which is $240. And so then now that represented how much Dad's money was. So at the beginning, Dad had $240. And if you organize your information like that, that would be good enough for a write-up. Just remember to write that you are working backwards. Alright, so that's a more simplistic problem. Please watch the next video for one that's a little bit more complicated. Thank you.